Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for the Champions Cup semi-final between Toulouse and Bordeaux. Now, on the other side of the draw, we saw an absolutely incredible semi-final between Leinster and the Northampton Saints, in which the Saints were able to get themselves the victory by 3 points at the Aviva, which was an absolutely massive win for the side. But now we've got a French derby. And in terms of the Challenge Cup, it is England versus France in the final. Will that be the same? Yes, because Northampton won. But the question is, which French side will be going through to the next stage? So we will be looking through at the teams. We're waiting for the kickoff eagerly because this game, hopefully, will be just as entertaining. Looking through at this Bordeaux side, of course, as soon as you see it, the first two players that catch the eye is Damien Penaud and Louis Bialbari. The two men out on the wing for France. Throughout the Six Nations, they score tries for fun. They've got a dangerous loose forward trio here too with Diaby, Guido Peti, and also Pete Samu. The Australian international as the number 8. Maxime Lucu and Jalabert will definitely be a combination to keep an eye on too. Honestly, like both of these sides are stacked. You could look through them and see about 10 to 12 to 15 key players in their respective positions. And then they've got some pretty handy players off the bench as well in terms of this Toulouse starting lineup. It is Cyril Bailly in the front row alongside Julio Marchand and Eldier, so an all-French front row here. Jack Willis in the number 7 jersey. He will be definitely one to keep an eye on too. But Roman Intermac, a lot of pressure on that man to be able to perform in this contest. Him versus Jalabert. Honestly, good pick who gets to start at 10. In the future for France, but we'll have to wait and see who does get the better of that. Capuzio out on one wing, Juan Cruz Malia, the Argentine international, at number 15 there, and Peter Aki alongside Barassi in the midfield combination. In the comments, we have got Leinster versus Northampton, one off, the best game in a bit, says Patrick. Yeah, I mean, you can't get much better than that. A close game, the underdogs leading at halftime, the favourites almost coming back, and then just that very last minute moment that won it for the Northampton Saints. Like, honestly, it's going to be hard to top, but these two sides certainly know how to play an entertaining style of rugby, so I think that they could certainly go close, hopefully, if we are in for a good match. Good afternoon, Hamish says, pleasure, welcome in, and think this will be a kick fest today, depends on the 10s, says Patrick, although I do think that both sides probably think the opposition are going to go for quite a kicking-orientated game, which could also bring a little bit more attacking from both teams. It's almost like a reverse psychology situation for these sides. So, yeah, it might actually be less kicking than we first anticipate. Definitely when you look through at the running options that both of these two sides had. And how's it, Hamish? Don't have a dog in this fight, so it means that you can sit back and enjoy a little bit of a neutral matchup. We have got How's it, Bruce says, Harry, welcome in. And also we've got there Toulouse win, says Patrick. Bordeaux win, says Patrick. And also good afternoon. I'm back. Says Cameron, looking through quickly at the benches. I mentioned that both of them look pretty stacked for this match for the big Bordeaux forward pack. They have got Ben Funa off the bench. They have got Joey Carberry as the number 23. Oh, I was just thinking there for a second that there might have been a last-minute change, but they were just saying no Pieton Malvaca for Toulouse. So instead off the bench, it is Cramont. They have got Jalonge and also Naito Saito alongside Santiago Jochabarez as the number 23. And when you look through at the fact that Jochabarez comes off the bench for this team, whereas for Argentina, he's normally that starting 12 and was in some terrific form last year. Once again, it just shows you how strong both of these sides' starting lineups are in terms of their recent form. First of all, for the home side, Bordeaux, they recently lost to La Rochelle in the top 14. The week before that, they were able to get the away victory. And then, as you can see, a couple relatively high scoring, but at times close matches of the Champions Cup round of 16 and quarter-final for Toulouse. They were able to get themselves the win over Sale Sharks, and also Toulon. That was an extremely close quarter-final. Went right down to the wire, and a last-minute kick from Toulouse got them over the line. If it wasn't for that one, we would go on to Golden Point, or at least extra time, which is something that Toulouse have done before. I remember we covered it between Toulouse and Munster a few years ago. I think they even went to the kicking option afterwards, which is something you don't see too often at all. They were victorious in their most recent game up against Castres, 52 points to 6. So they have a bit of confidence heading into this matchup up against Bordeaux. as well. Now, these two sides were actually in the top 14 final last year, but it's probably not a fair representation of the caliber that these two sides are, comparing them this year compared to last. I think Bordeaux lost that final by about 45 points or somewhere around there, so that's definitely not one to base it off, or at least I hope it's not. I'm going for Bordeaux based on the colour of their shirt, plus I've been there. Can't argue with that. And Carberry can play in a very different, or a few different places. Not a bad sub, says Patrick, and you got enough rest, nowhere near it, but we'll be able to catch up throughout the week. Andrew Brace, he will be the referee in charge of this one. The video referee will be Mike Adamson, back in Bordeaux as the home team, and Toulouse de Pontless, says Leon, and they have got a couple other gaps, of course. No, like they mentioned before the game, no Pietro Malvaca for this contest. What kind of impact will that have? Normally Marchand finds himself either coming off the bench or Malvaca will switch with him relatively early on, but we've got 3 seconds till the kickoff, and we are now underway, ladies and gents, for the second semi-final. Bordeaux will be kicking off from left to right, and the winner will face the Saints. It's nicely taken by Jack Willis inside of the Toulouse 22. Of course, it isn't just the European Champions Cup that we've got today. We've also got the Day of Sevens, which will be coming up from 5 a.m. onwards. Let me roll in this one back for the first kick of the day for Ramon. And does get it into touch. And to be honest, I hate Golden Point, so I hope it's done in relegation or regulation. Although Golden Point, I believe they don't actually go to it in this. They go to extra time, which I think is 10 minutes each way. And then whoever has the most points at the end of extra time wins it. So that's one good thing about the format of the competition. Yeah, Golden Point can sometimes just be a bit of a lottery, and sometimes it's just coming down to winning the coin toss, but that's going to be nicely run for from Bordeaux. Maxime Lucu uses it quickly. Jalabert going for a sneaky little kick in behind with the grubber. It's picked up by Toulouse. Got a lot of pressure on Juan Cruz Malia. They now look like they've got enough time to be able to get this one set. Firing across to the big man, Miafu. Just like the pure amount of talent, size, strength, speed in these two sides alone make any club side a little bit nervous. It goes into touch. Yelbarhi decides against taking it quickly. I'm a supporter of both teams. However, I'm a TOULOUSAIN first, says Cameron. And yeah, I guess the big question is which side here stylistically will give Northampton Saints a tougher game. Because for some reason, I don't know what it is about the way that they play, but they seem to be a team that at the moment have Leinster's, not so much have their number, but they just seem to know how to play up against Leinster. And sometimes teams do have a bogey side. Look at New Zealand in the sevens and Spain at the moment. I think 4 of the last 5, the Spanish have won. Now nice pop pass, Pete Samu going on the outside. Some quick hands here from Bordeaux, close to the sideline, and they will get wrestled out. I believe his neck was touching the line, but it looks like they're going to say play on, although Toulouse get themselves the not releasing penalty in the breakdown anyway. That is nice work from Julio Marchand. And that's the thing. You've got Pietro Malvaca out. That has been the talk of the town this week. But, you know, you still got Julio Marchand, who is a French international. He's had some pretty impressive performances, so he probably feels like he's got a bit of a statement to make in this match too, saying, yes, Malvaca's gone, but I'm still here. It was just a nice backline off to the right-hand side in the replay. Keeping the ball alive and very close to the sideline, but Julio Marchand just jumping onto that ball. Gets a headbutt from Jack Willis for his troubles. Now, nicely claimed by Toulouse. Just inside of their own half at the moment. The gap opens up there, and it's a good run up the middle from Toulouse with Barassi. Now, protecting this one in the breakdown. Good work from the Toulouse forwards. Back to the right-hand side. The wide cut-out pass, keeping the ball alive for Capuzio with the inside pass to Juan Cruz Malia. We have got their pronunciation guide. Louis B.L. Barret, or B.R.A., is it? Oh, nicely forward, and that's going to be the try for Samu. I should probably have done that when there was a gap in play, but nice try for Bordeaux. And that is fantastic work from the home side. Pete Samu, the Aussie international, carves up the middle. And the crowd absolutely loving that one. It was just the quick hands from Toulouse initially to Mia Fu, who has a loose carry after the driving shot from Falatea. And then just the pace shown, cuts through the middle for Jalabert and then got the pop pass up into the hands of Pete Samu. Either one will give Saints a good game, but Saints seem to have some sort of divine intervention this season. Well, that's the thing. Like, they're theoretically, I believe, out of the premiership, aren't they? With how they're sitting on the points table. So I guess you could say they had all of their concentration on the Champions Cup, but like, you know, it's still to go to the Aviva. Like, yes, La Rochelle have done it, but, you know, La Rochelle, in terms of Champions Cup, as of late, have just done so well. With the exception of course, this year. Let's go Bordeaux. Says foosball here, so we have got the anyone know who Bath got in the challenge final. They will be playing Lyon, who got themselves a nice win over Racing 92 by about, I think it was 14 points or somewhere along there. Now ball is at the back for Bordeaux, and also the kick has gone over, which gives them the 7-0 lead in the early stages of this match. Now Juan Cruz Malia making his way up to the halfway line. Evening, afternoon, Hamish and everyone. And now sat down since 6 a.m. Sunday is just another day when you are an old country boy. Proper job. Says Kerno Rick. A nice attack and run forward from Mia Fu, although last time that he did have the carry, it was actually what led to Bordeaux's try. Now going off to the right-hand side here. Nice space opening up for Peter Aki. Are they out of everything else? Says Fu's ball, and that's going to be a good kick in behind, and just pulling up in the in-goal area. To have enough base that one down was Jalabert, and now they will have the goal line drop out. And I am everyone. I hope you're all well. Going with Bordeaux on this one. Bordeaux 35 to the 28 of Toulouse, says Lilia B. And so both cups, England versus France. Exactly right, yeah. Which I guess you could say is a little bit surprising in terms of once again, the sides from the URC that were in there. But Premiership sides doing very nicely in the right moments. And then, of course, with two French semi-finals that are France versus France, it means it's going to be pretty self-explanatory that they'll go through. Time does the 7 start, South Africa time. 7 p.m. is when it will start. And it's actually the South African women's side in action up against Argentina women. And we're actually going to cover that one on the channel. It will be the first game for Argentina women's sevens that we've covered. And also one of the first for the women's South African sevens since, I think, last year or so. Can't draw or downplay the magnitude of what Northampton did yesterday against possibly the best club in Europe. They'll also have an effect on the Lions. Yeah, see, I'm not sure about the Lions part, if I'm being honest, because I do think that surely Andy Farrell's already got a side roughly selected. But you wonder maybe, you know, a couple of those last-minute changes. Finn Smith, if he wasn't already in there, I think people would be frustrated if he doesn't make his way in now. But, like, yeah, I feel like the last round here would have been more so he's got a side. Injuries would be what brings guys in and out. But I guess form could also. Nice step there. But yeah, I mean, the Saints getting the win at the Aviva was something definitely with the lead that they had at halftime. Like, no one predicted that. Like, we had people predicting maybe Toulouse, maybe the Saints by a couple of points. What's happening in the game, says James. It's a penalty going the way of Toulouse. And it will be within the 22, so it does mean, penalty going against Toulouse, against Jack Willis there, so they will take more than likely the 3 points, seeing as this is semi-finals rugby. We have got there a great match commentary. The only thing is you keep moving away from the actual game on hand too much, says Brian. We seem to be getting that quite a bit today, my apologies. We get in a lot of questions, so just trying to answer them. Plus, at the moment, in the defence of the two sides, we've had hardly any stoppages throughout the first 8 minutes or so. It is a frantic tempo. Just going to cause them many problems later on when it comes to fatigue. Now, Jalabert ready to line up this kick. And it means that it will be a nice, easy 3, you would think, for Bordeaux, which will have a 10-point lead early before we even reach the 10-minute mark. But Toulouse are the type of side that have got plenty of ability of being able to get back into a contest. The kick is good from Jalabert. Now makes the score 10-0. And Bordeaux have a quick game, says Dennis. That is true. Their backline is very crisp, but then so is Toulouse. I feel like these two sides match up to just play very entertaining games. Like I mentioned, the top 14 final wasn't as close last year as many people wanted it to be. How's things looking? It's looking all right for Bordeaux at the moment, although we haven't seen the full Toulouse attack as of yet. So I do think that it's just around the corner. But kicked off by Toulouse. And that is nicely taken by Pete Samu, the lone try scorer at the moment in this contest, managing to get over about 5 minutes into the match. Back across to the left-hand side. It's Adam Coleman for Bordeaux, but Toulouse now get the penalty back. Down by 10. And Julien Monchon for half a second there considered the quick tap, but I believe that this will be where we see them once again go for just the safe 3. Kill off the momentum. And yep, they are pointing at the post. So it will be a good early kick for Intermac as well. Nice and simple. Yeah, it was nicely done by Toulouse. I think that was Julien Monchon for his second turnover penalty in this match. And like I said, it's only been the first 10 minutes. Going to be the points on the board without Thomas Ramos, without Antoine Dupont, and without Pietro Malvaca in the starting lineup for Toulouse. Juan Cruz Malia, in all the absences, does get the kicking tee. Of course, I don't think we've seen Malvaca line up too many off the tee in recent times. I don't doubt the man could strike one. And it does go over, making the score now 10 points to 3 between Bordeaux and Toulouse. And we have got there Ahai Lilius, says Patrick. And also France or South Africa, next World Cup winner Harry, says Patrick. Notice how ever since I got told off, the chat's just gone down and everyone else is kind of sitting there worried that they're going to get told off for saying anything not related to these two sides. Now, it's going to be kicked downfield and nicely taken inside of the 22 by Roman Intermac. Now, looking to get this one towards the touchline here for Cremon. And this will just be the clearing kick. It should find touch, which it does. And now the line out here for Bordeaux, about 30 metres out from the Toulouse line. Just showing that front row of Toulouse. I mean, you've got Cyril Bay in there, Aldieri, Julien Marchand. They're all French internationals. We haven't actually had a scrum as of yet. But I don't doubt that we won't have one just around the corner, ready to throw this one in for Lemouth. And nicely taken by Samu. Looks like he's going to have quite a pivotal game in this one for Bordeaux. Another step there. And spot on Hamish, says Lilia B. And now Intermac. Oh, in fact, no, sorry, that time it was Jalabur. Well handled at the back for Juan Cruz Malia. He was trying to call for the mark, but I don't think the referee allowed him to. So it was a bit of a fumble. He was also under pressure, but I think the mark still would have stood. Now Marchand has to play halfback. About 5 metres out for the line, and once again it is going to be rolled back. I've noticed ever since I said it's been quite open, we've had a lot of kicks in just the last couple of moments. Now another clearing kick as well. And Morena Hamish looking good round 2 of the rugbies. Says a Blues Nate. Yeah, the 7's taking place all throughout the day. I think we've got about 10 streams scheduled at the moment, or it might be a little bit less. I think it's about 8 of those 7's matches, but by the end of the day we probably will be around that 15 number again, just like yesterday. But yeah, exciting first matchup. South Africa versus Argentina in the women's 7s. Ready to throw this one in for Maxime Lemouth. It's a big shot coming in later from Toulouse. Pete Samu, oh, another penalty in the breakdown. And this time it's Jack Willis who has got himself the penalty. So at the moment, Jack Willis, Julien Marchand, they've got 3 penalties between the two. True 10 stream, let's go. Kiwi says Blues Nate. That one's going to go against Diaby, I think just leaving his feet in the breakdown. The crowd still sound relatively loud here. I believe that they will be trying their best to get behind their side, although they will know the threat that is coming with Bordeaux conceding that line out about 12 metres out from their line. Toulouse the type of side that if they get their set play right, you're pretty much just conceding. That's the best way of describing it. They can find the right runner. They've got Peter Aki and also Barassi in the midfield. But hardly any spotting so far of Damien Pinot and Biarray. Now, going to go back across to the right-hand side, almost through, offloaded up from Intermac. They will still be about 10 metres out from the line. Afternoon, Hamish says, Ruth, welcome in. Now firing it back across to the left-hand side, Jack Willis. The crash and run from him into Mac, going back across to the right-hand side, chance out wide. Another step from Capuzio, who has to cut back inwards. Hope you are doing well after yesterday, says Ruth. It was still a little bit sleep-deprived, but there's still slightly, I guess, the brain switched on today. Now going back off to the right-hand side, another flat run, and just came home from shopping, says Ruth. Now William Marchand. Going back across to the right-hand side. Intermac reaches out. It's gone back. And that will be passed out wide. And the try will be scored for Toulouse. And it was a little bit scrappy. Intermac, he had to offload it pretty much from his back. But Dimitri Delebes, as the try scorer, Jack Willis, has come on in leaps and bounds since he went to France. England's loss is France's gain, I reckon. Says Kuno Wiki. He seems to be one of those, I guess you could say, one of those leaders in the forward pack for Toulouse. He always seems to be in or around the action and just seems like an experienced head to have in there. Capuzzo was stopped just short. Intermac, I think he was considering stretching out to try and score that one. But favourites here, Toulouse for the win. Says Blues Nate and Toulouse for me, but nothing between them, Hamish. How's your team today? Honestly, I couldn't really split these two sides. Like, looking at previous results, you would think that Toulouse should have it, but then the home field advantage is just such a substantial thing in the French top 14. So you wonder whether or not that might just take Bordeaux over line. But the score at the moment, 8 points to 10. Toulouse missing that last kick of Juan Cruz Malia. Yeah, some brilliant rugby being played throughout the first 16 minutes. Close one here, says Ruth. And also, we have got about the Bordeaux side being favourites. That's the thing, though. After that last game between Northampton and Leinster, the favourites, yes, the odds are a thing, but sometimes the underdog, being considered underdogs, I think, for Toulouse, would just fire them up more. We've got the top 14 table here. And for a side sitting with a points differential this season of 364, it is tough to believe that they are coming in as underdogs. But, as you can see there, the side that they are facing, Bordeaux, currently sitting in second place, 15 wins, 7 losses, 69 points in total. And if we look at the group that they were in, as you can see, the two sides at the top, Bordeaux and Toulouse, both getting 4 wins from 4. The only side that those two teams did not play in those matches were each other. So it means that this is the first time we're seeing it happen for the Champions Cup for this season. That's a big shot on Intermac, who is inside of his own 22. Jack Willis joining the breakdown. Try and keep it alive. Toulouse also have a few crucial injuries. Could even everything up, says Benjamin. Yeah, exactly right. Not having Malvaca, Dupont and Ramos can be quite a hit to them. But then that also normally just seems to fire up the extra, or like the younger players who take in the spots. You know, the likes of Julio Marchand. All we've heard this week in that number 2 jersey is, oh no, Malvaca, they'll struggle. He's already got 2 turnovers in the first 16 minutes. Jeez, that's one hell of a points differential, yeah. Like, the thing is, I'm going to have to show it again, because when you do the maths, 364, right? We're actually going to do the maths, because I can't do it off the top of my head just right now, but 364 divided by 22 means that even across the whole board, 16.5. They win their games by 16.5, even the 5 games that they've lost or drawn, with those ones included. Like, if we're looking at just the wins for them at the moment, I'd love to know how many points they've scored in total this season. But from the 16 wins, their points differential in most of those games is around 23. So that's pretty insane. And that is going to be the penalty now going the way of Toulouse. A little bit of a scrappy breakdown there. I believe it is Lamoth who has given away the penalty, and we see Big Ben Tamefuna on the screen at the moment. He will be making his way off the bench for Bordeaux later on. And also, so Toulouse have more French national players, Hamish, says Ruth. I believe just, although the backline of Bordeaux, of course, does sneak them up a little bit, whereas we see Toulouse, they have a few more overseas internationals, nicely claimed by Toulouse, who actually decided to try and take this one quickly rather than going for the 3 points, which is an interesting choice, definitely because at the moment they are down by 2. So they denied the 3. So this makes me wonder whether or not they've got a little bit more of an attacking mindset going into this one. But Pete Samu got over the ball, but now gives away the penalty. So this one will be a little bit of an easier 3 if they do decide to take it. And actually, double blow of the whistle here. Sounds like this is going to be a bit of a last warning. Maxime Luku just having a bit of a chat. But yeah, in terms of the comparison of backlines for the Bordeaux side, I think they've got Abiel Biarray, they've got Jalabert, Maxime Luku, Mofana, Pinot, and Bureau also got a little bit of international time, whereas for Toulouse, they've got, the likes of an Italian international in Capuzzo, Juan Cruz Malio of Argentina. So they've kind of mixed and matched a little bit. But, yeah, their forward pack is where they've got a lot of those French internationals. 3 points now is going to be taken, which will give Toulouse the 1 point lead. And take it easy, Tim. You sound like Hamish, says Ruth. And also we have got there. What's up, everyone? The Sevens last night went on to after 12 a.m. here. How the Sevens go, says Xander. So South Africa, Argentina, Spain, and New Zealand. Top 4 who have gone through to the next stage. Would a VPN enable me to watch this game free? I'll still stay here for the quality of Hamish. Ooh. I don't know. Is RTE players showing this game in Ireland? Might be able to work for you. It's a little bit unfortunate in regards of the fact that it's 2 French teams, because that means that a lot of the other broadcasters have decided not to do it just because of the broadcasting, I guess, restrictions of it. But I think anyone who's got the other semi-final should hopefully have this one. So yeah, RTE player in Ireland might be your best bet, Rory. Oh, just Premier Sports. Oh, okay, so it is behind a paywall for this one, unfortunately. Oh, attack and run forward. And also, we have got there Luku, says Ruth. Is he your new favourite halfback from France now that Dupont is injured at the moment? Good run forward from Bureau. And now moving at 5 metres out from the line. This is another good chance for Bordeaux to be able to strike. Maxime Luku having to join into the breakdown. Fires it across, quick hands from the forwards. Falatea wrestled down. And Bordeaux off to the short side again, showing off some physicality as Mofana will be just short of the try line here for Toulouse once more. Sorry, for Bordeaux. Or Canal Plus for French commentary. Is Canal Plus free? Or is it a paid one as well? I'll give that a whirl. Thank you. RT is usually only Irish teams, but we'll have a look. Says Rory. The other option might be, is it S4C or something in Wales? Even though Wales are knocked out of the comp, they may have purchased the licensing earlier on in the comp. It's going to be another penalty advantage going the way of Bordeaux. Quick hands. That's a beautiful pass. And Biel Biarray does score the try. And that is quite the finish in the corner. He's almost done the forward flip. Looks like he might have winded himself from doing it. I don't know whether or not it was completely necessary in terms of if he would have been pushed into touch otherwise. But that was a brilliant run, first of all, from Romain Buros, who just cut through this Toulouse defence, got them on the front foot, momentum in their favour, and then just a nice wide cut-out pass. And does the forward roll, and then I think after that realised how much that one hurt the spine. And we have got there also, did you watch the last game of the Sevens or fell asleep, says Xander? I think a few people did fall asleep a little bit later on compared to when they would, but then I don't think many people made it right through to that South Africa versus Argentina match. Only 3 seconds left of this kick for Jalabert, getting it in just a second beforehand, and he misses. I think trying to use up as many seconds as he could just to give his side some decent time to recover after what was once again a pretty quick passage of play. We haven't had a huge amount of stoppages outside of the penalties. Not many line-outs what happened in the Sevens. with a demotion system. Says Roger. Honestly, I think it's just a muddled mess at the moment. It will make more sense when we see it in action, but pretty much the top 8 sides are confirmed as the Division 1 next year. Whoever is at the top of the tables in the relegation promotion league, which used to mean that they'd get to go through, or at least have a good chance of being promoted, that's no longer a thing. So instead, if you're at the top of that table, you get to go into Division 2 automatically, and then 2 and 3, I believe, also play off to stay into Division 2. Rest of the sides actually go down to Division 3. I believe it is, or the top 6 might all go through to division. It's really muddled, but we're just going to cover the games as they come, and then hopefully it makes sense at the end. And France has so much quality in the centres, and players like Paul Costes, I haven't even had a look in, is ridiculous, says Benjamin. Yeah, like, the thing is, when you also look at the under-20 French side, like, the thing is, even now, France are a top side, but you give them another 5 years. With a few of the young, like, just X-Factor players that they've got, they're going to be tough to beat. And I feel like they're already reaching that stage of when they play well and when they get their selections right, I think they beat any side in the world. It's just whether or not the mindset's also there and whether the tactics are right on the day. It's going to be kicked to behind from BORDEAUX. Going to be 22 metres out from the line. Toulouse decide to just kick this one into touch. Not quite having the angle to be able to work with. So 25 metres out from their own line. It will be the line out now against Toulouse. We're already 25 minutes into this game too. It has been flying by 15 points to 11 and scoreboard slightly quicker than you. Says Lilia B. Although I do prefer when the scoreboard's a little bit fast compared to when it's about 7 minutes behind. But at the moment, yeah, it seems to be on song today, which is quite nice to see. Now ready to throw this one in. England, France, South Africa, New Zealand will be the top 4, says Seb. Is that for the next World Cup? I assume that would be. And Ireland will drop out, says Seb. And France in the 90s and 2000s were A tier. These days, France is really strong, says Xander. That one is going to be put into touch. And, I wonder whether or not if he had stayed in the field of play. He's actually decided to try and take that one quickly for BEGLES. Oh, no, it wasn't on the mark. Aren't the English top dogs at the under-20s in Europe, says Fleshin. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. England also have got tons of talent coming through the ranks. And I do think that the under-26 nations, I mean, it just shows that there are, I mean, Henry Pollock's probably the perfect example, isn't it? A young guy with no fear of annoying anyone or getting smashed in a tackle or anything, just goes out there, and there are a lot of people talking about him now after that Saints game up against Leinster, definitely because of the talk before the game. He was saying, we're going to try and, we're going to try and push them, we're going to muscle up to them, we're going to try and get in their heads, and everyone said, nah, just a young guy being arrogant, but he actually was probably the best player in terms of that 4-pack for the Saints. Of course, Finn Smith has to get that for the back line in terms of what he was able. But Freeman got a hat-trick. Both deserve a very big shout. I feel like because of the way Finn Smith played, Freeman was able to thrive out on that wing, if that makes sense. England are about to produce arguably the best front row of all time, says Seb, and Serious Freaks coming in at tight and loose head, says Seb. And yeah, that's the thing. It's a new era at the moment almost because, you look through at that English front row, the likes of Dan Cole, and those type of guys who, they've been there for so long. And I guess everyone just got used to it. Same with Joe Marler. How long's that man been in the propping department for the English? But now when you get those young guys, the likes of even just someone like a Finn Baxter, and the difference that's now starting to build, it's very exciting. But Maxime Luc, he's going to try and line up this kick from about 56 metres out, straight out in front of the post, strikes it pretty nicely, and it comes back and goes over. What a kick that is from Maxime Lucu, the extra 3 for Bordeaux, and that will now give them the lead of 18 points to 11. That gets the crowd on their feet, an appreciation for the strike. Yeah, 56 metres out. Looked like it was slightly curling away to the right, but then came back in the last 10 or so metres. It looks like a head injury assessment here for Adam Coleman. So he will be off the field. possibly for the rest of this game, depending on how severe the shot was. Tui Pelotu at hooker, says Seb there. And Howdy says JG, I should say, welcome in. And also South Africa have raw talent. They are the best, they are a team to beat, says Dennis. And yeah, I do look forward to seeing, they're also young guys. Because, I mean, you see these South African under-20s in the Rugby Championship. Someone like a Halakani, you know, he's going to be a star in the future. They've got a couple other guys across that forward-back that just a physical and dangerous, nice pass. After Maxime Luku just drops it. It was a breakaway for Bordeaux as they almost got another strike on the board. Jack Willis with the pick and go, moving up to 22. And young talents coming through the under-20s, extremely strong and solid, says Blues Nate, and that is a good kick into touch. Fantastic kick, in fact, from just on the 22, way down into the half of Bordeaux. And Bordeaux come to play today. Yeah, both of these sides, like, don't get me wrong, Toulouse, yes, they're down by 7, but the way that they have played throughout this game, if it wasn't for Bordeaux being in front of them, I mean, we've seen that points differential from the top 14. They'd probably be leading by 15 by now if they were facing a side that weren't up for the challenge. Yesterday's game, the Saints, going to be one of the my top all-time finish to a game. It was a mental finish. Can't believe Leinster didn't kick at goal to tie. Says Foosball, yeah, they took the risk, and if it wasn't for the ball leaning on the post, like, that's the craziest thing, or on the flag, like, it would have been a try in the corner, and that was just a hectic way that the game could have gone down right at the final moments. And I think that was one of those ones that, whether it was awarded or not awarded, one side would have felt it was the wrong choice, if that makes sense. But yeah, it was just a hectic way to finish a hectic game, pretty much. There's no competition quality and quantity in terms of competitiveness at schools and under-20s rugby in South Africa. There's no competition quality and quantity in terms of competitiveness at schools and under-20s rugby in South Africa. The trick is chasing the right combinations, says Roger. And it was wild defo, says Foosball. But yeah, like, it was exactly what we wanted to see for a game where one side's considered the massive underdog and the other team is leading by, or supposed to be, leading the charge by a lot. All about to go into the scrum, 40 metres out from their own line here for Toulouse. Referee Andrew Brace just trying to get control of these two forward packs. As I think they went a little bit early. I'm trying, Jack, is the comment there from Andrew Brace. See, that does also help them a little bit. Like, I talk about the leadership that you kind of see from Jack Willis throughout these games, but also with these English referees, him also being able to speak clearly to them. Like, yes, every once in a while, for the top 14 games, you are going to have French referees in most cases, but in terms of these other games up against overseas sides involving English referees or Irish referees, Willis is very good at communicating with them, and I feel like that helps Toulouse quite a bit in terms of getting the message, relaying it to his side, and often they do then right their wrongs. It's going to be kicked high now from Cramon, I should say. And I think Romar's doing too much kicking from that number 8 jersey. He has a yet bigger run forward, though, for the replacement for Adam Coleman. Maxime Luku going to go for the left-booted kick in behind. It goes into the 22, and Roman Intermac, with all the time in the world, will create the angle, and that is a fantastic kick down towards the 22. Jalabert decides to take this one quickly, and he will put it back up to the sky and chase after this one. Waiting under it is the try-scoring winger. Willis also speaks fluent French. So yeah, like, he's the perfect player to have with the referees that they have got. Oh, was that forward? Sounds like it might have been Capuzzi. I thought he was gone. But yeah, they are going back for the forward pass. If Ireland can't win World Cup, wouldn't mind France winning one. As England are the only European team to win one. Says Patrick. And yeah, I do think that at the moment, like, there are two outcomes for that next World Cup that a lot of people are after, in a way, and it seems to be either the South African three-peat or it's a new team to win a World Cup. Because with the competitiveness that we've seen recently, you're in that scenario of, you know, a few of these sides that haven't won a cup before actually are right on the verge of like you would think that they would be right on the cusp. Jack Willis for the Lions. Honestly, with the way that he has played, I'd say yes, but because he plays in France, I think that hurts him, doesn't it? I think that they don't really select too many top 14 English players because of the schedules. We have there, you've mentioned Cremont several times. It was on the Toulouse bench. Who has he replaced? Says James. In my starting lineup, he's the 9. So I'm not actually 100% who he would have come in for. I'm trying to think of who they had in that last game. In fact, I might have a quick look because I assume that is who he's gone on for. The man who was the original replacement of Dupont. Nice pass on the outside. Away to the left, Bordeaux. And that looks like they've just run out of space. Into touch within the Toulouse 22. And we have got, that's true, Tim, says Patrick. And also, okay, so Toulouse 7 behind. Another try, boys, come on, says Ruth. Yeah, it's just, if Toulouse score next and convert, this game is going to be just as close, I have a feeling, as that Leinster versus Northampton. I don't think either of these sides are going to go absolutely crazy in terms of throwing massive kind of cutout passes and whatnot. It was for Grail, I think is the man's name, who was playing for them a few weeks ago. So I'm not sure whether or not he was initially going to be in there. And Cremont is the hooker. Well, I've been set up with the lineups that I read then. Is it actually Grail as the starting 9? I was shown that it was... Yeah, it is Grail. My apologies. Interesting. So one lineup that I saw had Cremont as the starting 9. So that's, I guess, the lost in translation. Yeah, it is Grail. My apologies. We have got there, who's heard the American female commentator in the 7s. A bit strange to me. Sounds like a news anchor who got picked to cover the 7s. Says Roger, I mean, there are different styles in the 7s. There's also that guy, I think he's American. And he sounds like he's calling the NFL, but I actually kind of like it in the 7s. It's quite a cool change, and it kind of gives you a bit more of a franchise kind of feeling to the commentary. Waiting for the 7s, long time still, says Bruce. Yeah, another 2.5 hours. Going to be taking place now, going back across to the right-hand side. Roman into Mac, passing on the outside. No, in fact, decides to take the contact, pops it up now to Grail, as we now know. Tried to go for the offload there. Bordeaux, that's playing the ball on the ground. And luckily for them, there was already the knock on, or else Bordeaux might have gotten a penalty against them. The Lions are picked from current home Union teams. Jack Willis would make the Lions with no bother, in my opinion. Says Kerno Rick. And French-based players in the top 14 final will miss the first 3 games, so need to gel in quickly before the test, says Leon. And yeah, it just seems like it would be, maybe injuries if we see a couple, but then I don't even think that some of the French sides are a little bit hesitant to let their players go away early, just in case they get those injuries. Definitely someone with the caliber of Jack Willis, he's one of the standouts of this Toulouse forward pack, so they would definitely not want to lose him. Definitely with how soon. I mean, when does the French top 14 start again? I think we're only probably 3 months away, somewhere around there. So if you get some sort of serious ACL, MCL, anything like that, it would be a bit of a hit. Even teams like Scotland seem to have the player quality to win the next World Cup, but seem to just be a few steps behind. And though they don't have the depth in a few positions, says Benjamin. And yeah, they're in the same boat as some of the international sides at the moment. A lot of their guys are getting older. And, we saw what it did to Wales, losing all those guys at the same time. Dan Bigger, Lee Halfpenny, Liam Williams, Alan Wynne-Jones even, just a little bit prior. You lose all those experienced guys, you are left with a lot of holes in the side. And yes, Wales are slowly trying to fill them, but they still aren't quite, I don't think, where they want to. Well, of course they're not where they want to be. Is it still playoffs in the 7s, or are they playing semis tonight after this 2 games each? This format sucks. So they've played 3 games in their group stage, but now it is the semi-finals. So pretty much no quarterfinals in this one. Top 2 sides from the 8 do go through, which I think is what they're going to be doing next year as well, rather than the decent competitions. That's going to be the penalty now to Toulouse at the scrum, just wheeling away a little bit for Bordeaux after being under pressure from the all-international Toulouse front row. But yeah, they will play 5 games in total for whoever wins, which I do prefer over the 4 that we saw in Singapore, but it's still just feels like a compressed tournament for the sake of handing out trophies rather than actually doing it for the sake of, everyone wanted to see, everyone still wants to see 16 teams on the circuit, but we don't really get to see that, and we won't for a while by the looks of it. Now, line out throw. This is interesting. Toulouse, being down by 7, have opted to go once again for the slightly more risky option, and it's knocked on by Willis. It wasn't the cleanest line out in the world, kind of just slapped back aggressively by this Toulouse side, but I just wonder whether or not that choice of going for the 7 rather than the 3, that's now 6 points that Toulouse have not taken. Now, of course, they did get the 3 in that other scenario pretty much straight away. Blitzbox played France and GB. Who else did they play? They played Argentina. It was the 4 a.m. South African game for that one. And they were victorious in that contest up against the Argentines. So they go into their next match undefeated up against New Zealand. They beat Argentina 2, says Rory. And I all says Spencer Blaze and Toulouse or not Toulouse. Come on, Toulouse, get it over, says Ruth. But now it's going to be a Bordeaux scrum from about 15 metres out from their own try line. Double blow of the whistle here. Andrew Brace once again. Although it does seem like maybe that was a bit of a tactic from the Bordeaux front row just to try and slow it down a little bit more. Balance is the call. And we have good there. How are you, Amy and Roof? Doing all right. It's not as tired as I thought I would be after the 7s that we covered yesterday, but by those last streams, I was half by in just pilot mode. It's going to be a kick downfield. What a kick that is from Maxime Luku. He struck it from about maybe 10 metres on. In fact, that was Jalabert, my apologies, but he's kicked it from inside of his own 22, probably 10 metres out from his line, and has just absolutely walloped it down into about probably 60 metres down the field. He updates on the Los Pumas injuries. Not that I have heard. I know that Marcos Manette had a pretty swollen eye at the end of the day. I'm not too sure about Luciano Gonzalez's hamstring, and I'm also not sure about Santiago Mari. But I'd say out of those 3, Mari will not be playing today. I just can't see him doing it after the way that he was taken off the field last night. It feels incomplete, the 7th. Yeah, I agree. It doesn't feel like a championship round. It just feels like another casual one. But someone's going to have a big trophy and a title for themselves, but we're only at the semi-finals and it feels like, we haven't got into it yet. Now going off to the right-hand side. Going to be nicely taken up to the halfway line. Toulouse are still down by 7, and it looks like they are not going to be putting this ball into touch, instead trying to play for that little bit longer. Now into Mac, going across to the right-hand side. Barassi trying to carve his way through. Maxime Luku, the man who makes the tackle. He does cover a lot of ground, Maxime Luku, and certainly is doing very well for Bordeaux. Would look great in the French kit for the July internationals, although I don't know whether or not he is going to be eligible in that regard. Now going back across to the right-hand side for Grial. Now passed on the outside from Juan Cruz Malia. Another spin. And moving up to 30 metres out, but Bordeaux over the ball with Lamouth. Does win the penalty. Looks like, this is a tricky one, because this should just be an easy tap it into touch and be done with the half. In fact, that is what he is going to do, Jalabert. And it means at halftime, 18 points to 11, the lead at the moment for the home side. Still plenty of time left to play. I could be coming down with the flu, says Spencer Blaze, so make sure to get plenty of rest. Ironically, me saying that may not mean much because of the lack of rest that I get on the weekends, but yeah, sleep does help. Trying to focus here. New girlfriend WhatsApp messaging me now. Already told her I still love her loads of times today, says Bruce. Sounds like you are a very busy man, Bruce. But be thankful, I guess, that she's messaging you, because she could also be ignoring you for 5 days or something. That would be much worse, I would think. Other than that, I'm doing all right, says Pads Blaze, and I can't sleep. That's why I'm here, says Pads Blaze. in there as well. And we have got the same. I was down in that place at the Caravan. I watched it with the boys. The tension was exhausting, but the result was bearable because Wales pushed it to the death against the Rugby Giant. Was that that was the semi-final in 2019. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the URC now. Of course, we have got 2 French top 14 sides in action here. But when you think about that URC going into next round, Leinster coming off a loss, they'll be a bit frustrated. Edinburgh, I think, are in the trickier predicament because Leinster theoretically should still be first at the end of the round. But Edinburgh in 10th at the moment, and they need the win to be able to get back into that top 8. You just wonder whether or not, that loss could be absolutely crucial for not just their Challenge Cup season, but also for their URC too. Leinster coming off 2 losses in a row, says Rory. And yeah, that's the thing. 2 very different Leinster sides in terms of the lineups that they've gone with. One of them was their developmental side. They lost. Their top side up against Northampton, they lost. So now they have to find a way of rebuilding. So has the Stormers got a mathematical chance of the URC? Or are they just doing favours for other teams, says Roger? I think they're in the top 8, aren't they? The Stormers, here it is. So they're in 6th at the moment, so a very big chance of being able to go on. They're 8-8. So one more win for them, I think, would almost secure their spot within the top 8, or at least would put them extremely close to it. I think they've still got the 2 games left. Maybe? Yeah, 2 games left, I believe, for the Stormers. So they are well and truly in with a shot. Chance of having a home quarterfinal looks unlikely. So more than likely for the Stormers, honestly, it's probably going to be either up against Glasgow or it's going to be a derby up against a South African side. And what a first half. Can't believe the game being played. The pace is insane. Yeah, these 2 sides, I kind of mentioned about it before the match, how because both teams are, or most people thought that both teams were going to have a more kicking-orientated game. I feel like the teams knew that, and also their tactic was going to be to try and run the opposition off their feet. And top finishing team hasn't won the whole competition yet, says Rory. So yeah, it's always risky being at the top. Of course, the expectation is a lot higher, but you do want to, of course, win all your games normally. Dragons and Cardiff games for the Stormers, both at home, says Tony. And yeah, so they should be able to get over the line, I would think, in at least one of those games, and then that should secure them the spot. The game up against Dragons, I don't want to jinx anything, but I would say if they did lose that game to the Dragons, who are sitting bottom of the bunch with 1 or 2 wins this season for their final game at home, then maybe they wouldn't deserve to go through to the quarterfinals. Their game up against Cardiff, if they were beaten, don't get me wrong, Cardiff at the moment have been looking very strong, so it wouldn't surprise me much. But yeah, if they were to go on and lose that Dragons game, that would hurt them big time. If Cody Rhodes injured, Patrick, he's quiet. It might just be more so the fact that they're doing that Cena Auden angle at the moment. Maybe we see him come back soon. 2 bonus point wins. We get Stormers 10 points. We should put them possibly for a home semi or not, says Roger. Probably not, just because of the fact that the other team's above them. One moment, I'll put the table up again. But yeah, for the Stormers, theoretically, they can get up to 55 points in total. So one more win for the Sharks, or even some bonus points for the Sharks, will mean that they are far enough ahead that Stormers can't actually catch up with them, seeing as we've only got the 2 rounds left. So the only way that the Stormers can actually get a home quarterfinal is if we see the Sharks lose both of their games and not receive, I think it is the 3 bonus points in total would be how many the Sharks would need to secure their spot at the top, as the Stormers have the better points differential. Actually, no, take that back, because it comes down to wins first and then differential. So yeah, pretty much if the Sharks get themselves 2 bonus points at some point, they will confirm their spot above the Stormers for that quarterfinal. But Cardiff theoretically could still go above them if they were to get themselves to 2 wins. But then, of course, Stormers and Cardiff play each other, so then that will mean only one of them can. It's actually worked out really well in terms of the games that are taking place. There are a lot of games that are the equivalent, I believe, of knockout matches now because of who's going up against who. You know, even heading into those last couple rounds of certain matches involving sides right on the verge of that top 8, someone gets to go forward, someone misses out. I better try to sleep now. Hopefully I wake up. I'm not feeling bad. See as bad as Blaze. Yeah, hopefully you do feel a lot better when you're up. And Blitzbox dominating the LA7 so far, says LFG. Dominating is a bold word. I'll say they'll play well in their first 3 games, but their first halves, I think, is my slight concern for them. We predicted that first game up against France perfectly. I said that France would score first with Barassi. Oh, sorry, not Barassi. Can't think of his name now, the man who scored the first try, but we did predict him to score first. And then from there, I said South Africa would fire back. But yeah, if they can start games better in their semi and their final, they will win. Like, I find it very hard to see any side beating them. Definitely with Argentina's injuries. 3 South African teams in the quarters of the URC. Huge statement, says Roger. Yeah, you've got to feel for the Lions a little bit. We'll go back to the table again at the moment. You know, Munster, Ulster, and Connacht all not quite performing the way that they would have liked. I think at the moment, the fact that there are 2 Welsh teams within the top 8 is actually a pretty massive one. Ospreys, if they win, they could also find themselves within the top 8. And you've got, of course, the Scottish internationals in Glasgow, Leinster at the top of the bunch. Yeah, it will come down to who wins those important playoff games. That's the big one. Toulouse, in terms of the top 14, they are sitting top of the bunch, but of course they want to, I guess, continue on that momentum and finish the job and get that top 14 title again. They faced Bordeaux in the final last year, bet them like 48-3 or whatever the score was. It was actually an insane scoreline to have for a final. And that one will be in the back of Bordeaux's mind. They're leading by 7 here. So they're in a pretty good position to be able to cause a bit of a... Well, it's not even an upset, though. But then you could say it is, because Toulouse are the defending champions. So, like, it's weird, isn't it? The fact that aside... Like, they're at home, so they're the favourites, and also because of some of their recent form. But then you've got Toulouse, who have won many, many games in a row, coming off about a 40-point win in the top 14. Because they're missing 3 players, that now means that they're considered underdogs. And also because they're away, getting close to 29-hour fast so far, planning now to go 48 hours. Feels very good, says Bruce. I'd love to see the Dragons sneak a win and piss some team off, and they could. Like, that's the thing. And that's where last year, you know, the Ospreys, their game went right down to the wire, didn't it? And then they got the bonus point, I think it was, that then put them through. What do you think about the Pollock performance? Probably booked a seat on the Aussie flight. It's an interesting one, because I do think that they would have already had most of their players selected, if not all, and it would have come down to who's going to be injured in these final games before the selection. But yeah, I do think Pollock definitely, if he's not in the first team that's announced, any sort of injury over the next few weeks, because we've got to remember these guys are in action for the end of the URC, for a majority of them, and the Gallagher Premiership. So there will be guys that drop off due to injury, and then that's where you end up with the chance of those younger guys coming in. And yeah, I think Pollock could certainly bring a little bit of something to Australia. And Ayako, says Bruce, and there as well. Yeah, welcome in. Hope you are excited for not just the second half of this contest and what is a very close game, but also the sevens that is coming up around the corner. We are covering both women's semi-finals, which I believe is the first time almost of this year, maybe even since the Olympics, that we have covered 2 semi-finals. In fact, I don't even know if we covered both semi-finals of the Olympic Games for the women's. But one match is going to be New Zealand versus USA, and then the other is Australia versus Canada. Yeah, ready to go for the second half of this contest. Won't be a mile away. We did see the one change in the first half. That was Adam Coleman went off the field with an HIA, which did bring out the Bordeaux number 19. In terms of who else they have got off their bench, they've got Joey Carberry. He's very versatile in that back line, and then they have still got some pretty handy options in the front row replacements. And Bentame Funa for Toulouse, Gelange, he will be looking forward to getting out there. Santiago Chochabrez and Nato Saito as a number 22. You just wonder whether or not with that 6-2 split, Is it going to be... Well, that's the thing. Both sides are physical, though, and it has been such a fast pace throughout that first half. So I think that there'll be very, very welcome changes about 60 minutes into the game. We have got there. Hamish, are you warms? Just checking on your boss. Well, it's currently not very warm here in New Zealand. I think we're sitting probably, I would have to guess, it's colder than I was going to guess. I was going to guess 7 degrees. We're currently 4 degrees Celsius here in New Zealand. So I've been warmer, but it's still, it's not too bad. Definitely not t-shirt and shorts weather. And let's pump it up. Second half, Toulouse. Hamish, who's going to score first? See, I've got my one first try scorer prediction correct this weekend, so I don't want to ruin it. But I do feel like Toulouse might be able to strike first, just because with the fact that they are down, they might go a bit more aggressive. In fact, what I'm going to say is Bordeaux to score the first points as a 3, but Toulouse to score the first try of the half. See how that goes. We have got there. I was up because I needed Jen Payne after having a tooth out. Thought I'd see if Hamish was around, and of course he was 24/7. Says return. Dude, just watch the Moana Pacifica highlights. Artie cooking. Says naught. Yeah, so far every game that we haven't covered of Super Rugby has been a phenomenal one, and it's quite annoying because I was actually awake during that time. I was supposed to go to bed ideally at around 2 p.m, but I ended up going to bed at about 8 p.m. yesterday. So yeah, a little bit later than I was hoping to, but it's just a weird one how much one, inspirational player has just made Moana Pacifica into a beast. I wouldn't want to play them in the playoff finals. And the thing is, they might take the spot from the Blues, depending on how, of course, that Blues-Moana Pacifica game goes. I think they do play again. So that will be one slight benefit for the Blues if they can play like they did the last time the two sides faced. But yeah, they're just looking on song at the moment. And, it's not just Savia. Miracle Faialangi is an absolute beast in that loose forward trio. And also, I think they've got Asimesi Tupo Tailoa. He's also looking insane at number 8 for them. So, they're just playing very well. And it's very entertaining to watch the comeback story for Moana. Never wear shorts. I don't see roughy, tufty cowboys in shorts, says Bruce. So the reason... Do you say that to, rugby players? They're all wearing shorts. And you go up to them and say, sorry, boys, I'm just not feeling it, because, Cowboys didn't wear those, did they? I think about 15 rugby players would all chase you. I hope you're fast. But second half, very close to taking place. Do you think the Blitzboks will get the win against New Zealand in the semis? My honest opinion on it, and of course we're not on that Sevens live stream, so I can be a little bit less impartial, is South Africa, based off current form, should beat New Zealand easily. But New Zealand are a team that every once in a while seem to pull a performance out that no one expects because of their form. So, South Africa, for me, are huge favourites going into that semi. But New Zealand, if there was going to be a team to just randomly decide to play a good game of Rugby Sevens, it would be them. And that would be, South Africa, for me, based off what we've seen so far this tournament, thoroughly deserve to be in the final. But, you've got that other scenario of New Zealand, because of their record of the past, some would say, oh yeah, but if they win, then it's all right, if that makes sense. They're talking about casual wear, not sports people. Okay, so they're the exception to the rule about shorts, I guess. I have the Harrison Ford on standby. Imagine if rugby was played in jeans. Everyone just wore their jeans and had their boots on, different kind of boots. With their spurs on the back would hurt you in the ruck, wouldn't they? And Bordeaux win easy. Says Shavam there. And now, going to be kicked off by Toulouse, going from left to right here now, and already BRA is down the wing. Thought about going on the inside. What a run this is from Bordeaux. This is an insane start. He gets the try within 20 seconds of the half starting. Well, that wasn't supposed to happen. They received the kickoff. Biel Beret just went, hey, there's a gap over by that wing. I'ma just run down it. And Beret does score the first try, Toulouse looks shocked. They're sitting there going, did the half start? But that is a phenomenal one. Great link up from Pete Samu. I thought that he would have considered the inside ball, but instead, the Albiarray was quick enough to be able to score it himself. Any replacement kits would they need, says Lilia V? Probably quite a few, I would think. Physical training pants, we use them in primary school. Short pants, says Roger. And Bordeaux ramping it up. Where's Toulouse? Yeah, what a start to the second half for the side. The scoreboard hadn't even... Oh, there we go. I was going to say the scoreboard hasn't even told us that it's outside of the half yet. And that is a great run down the wing. And then Pete Samu with the assist. He's had quite the day too. And now 90 seconds into the half. And they've already got themselves the try, Bordeaux. Looks like it's third best team versus the fourth best team. While the best and second teams were knocked out in the semis, says Matthew. Yeah, it's interesting because Leinster versus Toulouse, if I'm not wrong, that was the final last year, wasn't it? And Toulouse were able to win it. But, you know, now you're in that scenario of it could be two different teams, like you said, in this final here. But Toulouse, I would not count them out yet. They're down by 14, so they will have to go aggressive here throughout the second half, but they have got a massive points differential in the top 14. They have scored many tries. That's going to be knocked on by Bordeaux. Toulouse now trying to shift this ball. It's a little bit scrappy at the moment. And we have the afternoon, everyone. Hope you're having a good one. Says Seb, welcome in, mate. Yeah, a bit of a entertaining start to this match, and that is going to be a penalty for Toulouse rolling on the ground. Talk about coming out with intent in the next 15 minutes. The odds will be closed in favour of Bordeaux, says Shavam. And also, I think this is the fastest try from Kickoff. What's the record? I know that Rameka Poihipi scored a very quick one for the Chiefs. But maybe in the Champions Cup it would be close. Super Rugby quickest try. How quick was Rameka Poihipi's? Rameka Poihipi scored against Moana Pacifica in 9 seconds, beating the record of Vula Maimuri in 2001 of 11 seconds. But, you know, I'm not too sure what the record is in the Champions Cup. But yeah, that was pretty much just a long kickoff. Grab the ball, put it down. Thanks very much for coming. But now, although that was actually at the start of this game, or at the start of that game, I think, for Rameka Poihipi. And now nice attacking run from BRA. I mentioned how they didn't really find him throughout the first half. 9 seconds is insane, says Rory. Yeah, like when you really think about it, and you think about Olympic sprinters, how quickly they run 100 metres, and the fact that they had to travel 50 to score, and you've got guys in front of you, theoretically, who are also trying to stop you. Like, yeah, very impressive one. That's another penalty to Bordeaux. That's now 2 back-to-back against Toulouse. And when you're down by 14, 2 converted tries, that's not really what you're after. It's like a bit of frustration there on the faces of this Toulouse side. I'll also mention, I don't think Adam Coleman has come back from his HIA, or at least I haven't seen him out there. Instead, will lose by at least 35, says Shavamal. So you're saying it's going to be a little bit of payback for that final last year, where Toulouse were able to beat them by around that 40 or 50. And this would be a bit of a statement win for Bordeaux too. They were able to do so. So someone just getting a little bit of attention to his eye. I think some eye drops going in. My brother will play his first Liga game against Cruin Park on our home field Thursday, says Maurice. Hopefully it does go well. The only time you ever brag about finishing in 9 seconds, says Rory. And Saints would rather play Bordeaux in the final than Stat. And that's going to be now Toulouse's scrum, just outside of their 22. Rolling maul attempted by Bordeaux, but it just wouldn't come out. Mia Fu getting in there. And of course, everyone knows how dangerous that man is. Once he locks over the ball, no one's taken it. I think they will lose by 42, says Shavam. Yeah, just goes through the middle, Mia Fu. And does end up trapping the opposition. Fiji having a shocker in LA. And yeah, sadly, missing out completely. And like, it just shows that with the competition the way that it is, I do think this is probably controversial. But I feel like at the moment with the sevens, there's a lot that a lot of people would like to change. I do think they should do the last leg of the points the week before the championship. I don't know whether or not that's a controversial thing to say, but I do think, yes, they want to do it in LA, but I just wonder whether or not you could do the Vancouver Sevens the week before and then LA the week after. And then have it that you close out the comp, everyone knows who's won that, and then you go into the championship while everyone's had a warm-up and got in the rhythm. That's not just for the way that Fiji's played, by the way, but just in general. I feel like it's more fair for the ones who won the previous leg, or at least, won the championship, to then still continue their form. Does that sound unreasonable? Probably. But I think that would be much better for them. It looks like Northampton versus Bordeaux, Saints to win in Cardiff, says David. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game because Bordeaux versus Northampton, probably a matchup. Has it happened in the last few years? We're going to do a bit of a Google. Versus Northampton. We've got a scrum currently getting set, ladies and gents. Bordeaux versus Northampton. There was a game at some point. When did this one take place? 16 points to 12 at full time. In 2020, I think, was the last time the two sides played. Or almost a knock-on the ground from Maxime Luku. In fact, there was. There's lost forward by Maxime Luku. So the scrum feed now for Toulouse. 10 metres out from their line. Spain ain't mugs anymore, huh? They're a really good side, Spain. And they've come a long way. And just like we look at last year, they were fighting for a spot on the circuit. And now, they're fighting for a spot of winning the whole thing. I think you don't see how they are playing. They might not score a point before they are 42 down. Says Shavam, greatest of all time, Bordeaux. Says Shavam. They're going well in this game, that is for sure. Greatest of all time is quite the statement. But, if they're your goat, they're your goat. Going for the scrum feed now. Who is the greatest French side of all time now that I think about it? Who's got the most French top 14? Top 14 most championships. Who is the side who has the most? Total wins 11 for Béziers way back in the day, 1970s and whatnot. Now knock on again from Bordeaux. They've just made a few little mistakes here. Now, a bit of a counter-ruck from Bordeaux. I thought they did knock it on, though, but I think, penalty does go the way of Toulouse. Has the most, Brennis by loads, says James. Now, Guido Petit, the man who has been penalised for using his hands. We've got Bordeaux just won't ever lose, says Shavam. It was last week. But from here on out, I assume, is what you're saying for this Bordeaux side. We have got Northampton. One or two Prem sides near me. I should support them more, says Flesham. It looks like a few changes are now being made for Toulouse. I think all three new front rowers making their way onto the park. And that is going to be once again not claimed by Toulouse. And it means that there will be the scrum for Bordeaux at line-out time. Loud noises, Shabbat, says Rory. And also we have got there our final score, Toulouse 18 to 35 of Bordeaux, says Roger. And STADE is not even 1% of Bordeaux, says Shavam. Now 31 minutes remaining in this contest. Bordeaux with that 2-try deficit. Or 2-try on top of this Toulouse side. You just wonder whether or not one more would seal the deal. And be fed in by Maxime Luku, big scrum, and Pete Samu breaking off the back, going away to the right-hand side. Hope that this game does get a little bit closer, though, because, or else, we've seen two close games on one side of the draw for the semis for the Challenge and Champions Cup, which both went down to the wire. Edinburgh versus Bath included a little bit. Although Bath did start to run away with it near the end, didn't they? Because of a couple disallowed tries. So sorry, we just had one close game, I should say, for the semi-finals. And final score, oh no, I read that one, didn't I? Although new final score from Shavam has gone up to 59-11. That's a lot of tries, Shavam. I like the way I read Toulouse as Toulouse, says Roger. Now scrum feed. Had a lot of scrums in just like this last about 2 seconds. When I smile now, I look like a pirate. I hope you still think I'm handsome though, says cool story bro. Oh, Dupont looks frustrated in the stands. Him and Ramos both watching on for this game. Both would love to be out there on the field. Nice scrum from Toulouse. Now kicking it downfield will be Grau. Nicely taken by Bordeaux. Now Buros kicking it high, chasing after it all. Miscommunication, but Gelange has taken it very well for Toulouse under the high ball. We are stat supporters, says Shavam. And also, we got about the pirate situation. Up to the halfway line for Toulouse. Grau goes across. Moving just that little bit further forward. But they do need a break, and they need one relatively soon. Even if it's, well, I don't think they'd take a 3, but they just need some form of points here to feel like they're back in this contest. Quick hands there. Peter Aki, he's a man who's hardly touched the ball throughout this game. Under the hands of Delibes, who did score the first try for Toulouse of the match. And little did he know that would be the lone try. 52 minutes in. And also we have got there Northampton are going to smash Bordeaux easy, says David. Oh, that was a shot on Julian Marchand's face. So I think it will be the advantage to Toulouse and could be something more. Capuzio goes across now, only a few metres out from the line for Toulouse, trying to get the turnover in the breakdown. Bordeaux doing extremely well, but they will, in fact, no. It's a penalty in that breakdown. It will be a yellow card. He was not onside. Bordeaux now down to only having the 14 men on the field. That is against Gazzotti, and this could be the turning point of this matchup. Gazzotti goes to the bin. They might also check that one. There was a high shot on Julian Marchand. They could be playing with 13 here. Toulouse have got nothing to lose, says Roger. Looks like a bit of an injury here for starting Bordeaux, Lucia Prop. And it might change the game, says Patrick. Certainly could, yeah. I mean, we saw up against Toulon how there were times where Toulouse were down, but then they just got back into it. Toulouse come back on the cards for sure, says Rory. Right, we're hearing a lot of booing at the moment. Is that because they're going upstairs to check something? And what's up with your background pictures? Why is it always overlapping? It's pretty much just because this one's the background. This one's my... Oh, sorry, that one's the background. This one's the background on my green screen. So it's pretty much just, for some reason, it can't go right across. Plus, my green screen only goes to... you can't really see my hand, but to here, which does mean it wouldn't quite cover the whole way. So it's just the layout that the streaming software offers. I probably could change it and move myself more that way and then have it the full width and then just stick a scoreboard on top. Dumstead was going for tries and skipping 3 points as if they are the GOATs, says Shavam. Just talking about that extra element of the yellow card now for Toulouse, who will have themselves a scrum in a very good position on the field. It's so nice to see you being respectful of the opposition. I feel like it's, you know, how they're like, you know, not all fans are bad. There's just some of them who take it too far. Shavam, he's one of those guys. You know, he's full on. He's going to go for the punch. Andrew Brace will deal with the front row if they come early, is what he's just said. And also, he'll fix them up in scrums if anything goes wrong. Now, another chance here for Toulouse. Last warning before we're going to see maybe a free kick go against one of these front rows here. MOT David says, DJ Luke, MOT. Toulouse are very much weakened with... Oh, but we'll get some points, and that's going to be a nice... Oh, trying to keep it in the field of play just a pass too far out, but another advantage and another penalty going the way of Toulouse again. They aren't taking the threes. I think that they'll go for the scrum again here. It seems like they're getting the advantage in that element. Andrew Brace is hoping that they won't go for the scrum, but they do. This could be another yellow card here for Bordeaux if they're not careful, and then they would be playing with 13 men in what is a very important patch in this game. Heading into the final quarter, both sides still look relatively fresh, but the question is, if they were playing with 13 for 10 minutes, how fresh would they look at the end of it? Ben Tamefuna, that is a good change to make for Bordeaux. They've realised that they might be getting penalised at scrum time out of this game, so they decide the decision to take Falatea off and get Tamefuna on for a bit more size. And that will also buy them, I guess you could say, a little bit more time when it comes to the referee's whistle. Has anyone recognised you when you are out and about? It says return. I had it once that someone recognised me at a supermarket. The guy was working at the supermarket, and then the other time was actually at the end of the cricket season. Someone didn't recognise me, but they recognised my voice from my Rugby 25 videos. That's a great run from Toulouse, and they will score again. And marching in together, Leeds United war cry, says DJ Luke. That one is going to be a brilliant try scored by Toulouse, who will now be back into this contest. I'm telling you, they can't score. They just did with Pierre-Louis Barassi, scoring about probably 5 seconds after that comment was made. And Simon says a Damo there. And also Northampton versus Bordeaux. Who would have thought, says Derek, although this game is far from over, Bordeaux have one less man on the field, lined up by Juan Cruz Malia, taps it through the post, and we're back to a 7-point game. Uncle Amish says return. And there as well. But yeah, great run from Barassi, just cut through the gap. Like I've said, just going out that one player further for that one, maybe. Why the defence wasn't quite set. We have got there. I thought they might get a chuckle for Simon. I feel like I didn't get it, Damo. It was nothing personal. It's just gone straight over the top of my head. We have got there. Now people will think they will come back. Says Siobhan, well, 5 seconds ago you said that they wouldn't score, and then they did. So they will continue to try and get back into this contest. DJ Luke, looking forward to seeing Leeds back in the Premier League. Too big a team for the ex-champ. Now nicely taken by Maxime Luku right next to the sideline. Still another 6.5 minutes remaining of this yellow card. Taken well under the high ball again. Running this one for Toulouse. Little chip. But well taken by, out of everyone, Ben Tamefuna, the man who jumps up and controls this one. Yes, Patrick, says DJ Luke. Nicely claimed by Jack Willis. Toulouse in possession again. The crowd's starting to get a little bit restless as they can feel the momentum starting to shift in this game. Kicked him behind by Peter Aki. Looking for the 50-22. Oh, that was close. And did he touch the sideline with him? Maybe the foot was in touch for BORDEAUX. He was looking up at the screen there. Pinot's injured. I haven't even seen Pinot touch the ball in this whole game, I don't believe. We're going to see BORDEAUX. Oh, no, he does well. Just stays within the field of play. But it does mean that there will be a line out from about 20 metres out from the line now. Chat was smoothly cruising until this random showed up. Says Blues Nate. Yeah, doesn't look great for Damien Pinot. The last thing that they want to have is another injury here. It's not looking good though, and it looks like Pinot will make his way from the field. That might not just be this game over for him, it might be the season. Hopefully not as severe as it looks. But yeah, we'll have to wait to see what happens there. They are all clapping him off the field for Damien Pinot in front of a home crowd. If you were in South Africa and someone said my aunt says hello, would you know it's me? I guess so. Because I was going to say because of the tooth, but no. If you said your name was Cool Story, bro, I'd know that it was you. But now William Monchon, now looking for the rolling maul, 35 metres out from the line. And again, the rolling maul is happening 30 metres now. Moving to almost 25, going short side, a little bit risky. Tries the little grubber in behind, kicks it forward, but it does go dead. Hello, no, hello. Oh, yeah, Hamish, Hamish. Rude, Kante says Blues in there. I get between Premier League and Champs is massive, so Leeds needs signing to stay up, says David. Yeah, just gets into touch. Or at least kicked it dead, my apologies. And yeah, it's still Pinot. He's at least, like, he's got two guys on either side helping him off, but it doesn't look like he's completely weightless on that, like, ankle/leg. So that's slightly good, I guess you could say, if there is any positive in it. Like, if he could put no weight on it, I'd say that that could be more serious. Maybe it is still a 6 to 9 month injury, but it just doesn't look as bad for now as it could have been. Oh, what a shot that is. Waited for him to land and then smashes into him for Anthony Gelange. Now, Jalibert kicking downfield. It just feels like for now Bordeaux are playing into Toulouse's hands. They're just going for those kicks downfield, giving Toulouse the counter-attacking chances. Ange Capuzio trying to step through, but great low tackle made by Pete Samu. Protection of the ball for the away side too. We're moving into the last quarter of this contest. Still another 3.5 minutes remaining of the yellow card, so plenty of time for that to impact what happens next. Merkler with a good carry. Now off to Julian Marchand, who has really been strong throughout this match. Off to the left-hand side now. Toulouse once again kicking. I don't know if that's the best plan at the moment. Just seems like that kills all their momentum that they did have going forward. And Bordeaux are going to try and make them pay. That was a massive shot. Broke him in half with that one. You know, he would have felt that. They're saying it will be reviewed, but I think it was a legal strike. It was just coming in at about the same time as he was booting it. 20 minutes, says David. Jack Willis with the offload to Julian Marchand. Right, this is where if Toulouse don't throw the ball away, they have a good chance of being able to score here. They're just having a chat with BORDEAUX at the moment. The man who was smashed. It's a big shot from Miafu, but it wasn't as late as it could have been, I guess you could say. Like, I think it was just a really big collision. Yes, he probably should have tried to pull out of it a little bit. Like they've said, clearly committed in the tackle, so I think this is just going to be play on. Of course, Bordeaux are not happy about it. Okay. I think Andrew Brace is talking to Maxime Luku here. Okay, clearly committed in the tackle and using arms as the call there. Andrew Brace said he could see that Maxime Luku was trying to steer him in the direction of giving a penalty for it, but still feels it was just a rugby incident. Pete Samu taking off the field for Bordeaux. That seems like a bit of a risk here, to be honest, after the way that he has started this game. It is going to be for Bastien Vergenez Taillefer, I believe it is, coming off the bench for Bordeaux. So they are saying he was already engaged in the tackle, which does mean we will be going back for the scrum. It's going to be Maxime Luku who has got himself the scrum feed. Yeah, certainly felt that hit. It was a massive one. Kick downfield from Maxime Luku. Nice little smart kick there in behind. Saw that the winger for Toulouse was coming up quite quickly, so left that gap in between him and the fullback and pierced that gap well. And now I got two screens on. Kiwi Lads in Premier League, says Roger. So who's playing in the Premier League? Do let me know. That's the thing. I've watched very little Premier League throughout this season. Same with the IPL. Same with pretty much every league around the world, which I feel a little bit bad about. Now, rolling ball attempted here again. I will mention the next game that we are covering on the channel will be starting in 1 hour and 30 minutes time. And that is the matchup between South Africa and Argentina in the women's sevens. Chelsea, my team, versus Liverpool. Oh, that's a big game. Who's favourite heading into that one? Is it Liverpool or because Chelsea's at home, do they have some sort of little advantage there? Bordeaux, says Shavam and hello. But now, kicked high, nicely taken under the ball for Joey Carberry. Now, Maxime Luku going back across to the left-hand side. Bordeaux, I believe, still need another try. Liverpool favourites, says David and Mikhail. And the 10-minute period is just about up for Bordeaux. So if they can go without conceding in the next couple minutes here, it will be massive for them heading into the last about 15 minutes. Capuzio now running it back from his own 22. Thought about passing, but instead will try and run this one. Oh, Berry tried to get the steal. Another big run from Merkler. Schwarmer's back. I thought he shazammed away, says Rory. Now to step from Peter Aki. Another offload. Oh, that's close to a steal, and Bordeaux get themselves the penalty. That is a crucial one for them, and that will use up the rest of the time of the yellow card too. The turnover is good. Very nicely done. Yeah, not a lot of time remaining in this contest. I was timed out. I'm back to make noise against not so good stat, says Shavam. Oh, I guess one of the moderators might have got rid of you for a second, but yeah, you're certainly the most passionate Bordeaux fan that we've had on the channel for a while. Liverpool already won the league. We're playing for top 4 spot to qualify for UEFA Champions League, says Roger. And Roger top 5, says Patrick. Yeah, straight on to the ball. And the Bordeaux coach absolutely loving it. Now ready to throw this one in. Bordeaux will be only about 7 metres out from Toulouse's line. I would almost say, not with a huge amount of confidence, but I would say that if Toulouse concede here, they will probably lose. But now 2 metres short of the line, almost over. They will be short again. And I can't hear speak. Did you time him out again, Blues? That's a try, though, for Bordeaux. And that might just about be the match. It is the replacement, Pierre Bochaton, I believe it is. And now Bordeaux with a kick to come that might give them the lead. Extra Champions League play for England and Spain, says Patrick. But just about over for the initial movement from Bordeaux, and then over the line there. Just does very well to be able to finish that one off. Gets a finger in the mouth for his trouble. Gets a kiss on the cheek as well. And Bordeaux's game, says David, yeah, that should just about do it in this matchup. Now, Jalibert ready to take a shot at the post. And he's missed. So that still means that Toulouse need 2 converted tries to be able to win this game. Or 1 converted, 1 unsuccessful for them to draw and go to extra time. Now, there was initially going to be a bit of a gap between my first and second live streams, but if this one goes to extra time, we might get less of said gap. And give us your best impersonation of someone famous. See, I feel like impersonations on the spot are very tricky to get right. I used to be able to do a bit of a Kermit the Frog, but of course under pressure from doing a commentary, I feel like I'm going to butcher this. It's Kermit the Frog here. I don't think I got it quite how I'd like it, but going off to the left-hand side for Toulouse. Chance here, only about 10 metres out from the line, and that is another penalty. Being Tame Funa joining the breakdown in off the feet for Toulouse. And we have got their Bordeaux Bègles, or Bègles, sorry, 25 points to 18 from Joshua. As always, an easy one, says Rory. That one has gone into touch around the halfway line. And it looks like Grau will go off the field, and that is for Naito Sato, the Japanese international, making his way on. My score prediction of 35-18, right on track. Another try, Bordeaux, says Roger. Yeah, I see that the scoreboard, one moment. There we go. It has now updated. Yeah, you would be bang on when it's the final of the sevens. Final of the sevens has taken place at around, I believe it's 12:30 p.m. New Zealand time, so that'll be 2:30 a.m. for you guys in South Africa. We're going off to the left-hand side here for Bordeaux again. We'll send it to the sky. Every time that ball hangs up there, it's about 5 seconds out of this game. Juan Cruz Malea taken down nicely 30 metres out from their own line here to Toulouse. It would take a miraculous comeback, but the thing is, Toulouse have done it before, and they will certainly do it again in the future. Question is, can they do it in this game? Peter Aki now looking to shift it away to the left-hand side. Cutting back inwards for Delebs. Now Sato, who's going to make the big mistake. Bordeaux have had a lot of penalties throughout the second half, I will mention, in terms of winning them. In the breakdowns, they've been extremely quick, and they've got another steal there, which now gives them possession about 35 metres out from Toulouse's line. 13 minutes remaining. Jalabert trying to go through. Gets the offload on the outside. Nicely taken by Bordeaux yet again. Oh, almost lost that ball for a second there. In fact, he almost has, and that is well stolen. No, they call it a knock-on against Toulouse. Just can't seem to quite get the rub of the green in the second half. They just need that one big penalty that would change momentum, but does seem like it is a little way away. Like they're saying, who will be the spark in this Toulouse side that can change the game and cut it wide open? I do think in terms of their bench, someone like a not a Joey Carberry, a Santiago Chochabarez might be able to find a bit of a gap with a crash run, get the offload away. Just seems like it's a little bit flat for Toulouse in the second half, which I don't think sounds, well, it sounds harsh, but I don't think it is. There just hasn't quite been that next propelling stage, other than during that time where they first initially had the man advantage up against Bordeaux. Everyone in the chats right now is doing fantastic. Welcome into the Kiwi Lads. Subscribe. Hit the link above the chat, says Blues Nate. Yeah, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are live for the sevens as well later on, where we will get to see the likes of France. We will get to see South Africa, New Zealand, Fiji, Samoa, Kenya, Canada, all in action. That will be the free kick now for Bordeaux. They have to be back 10 metres here. So could you go quick tap, drop kick? I don't see why not. I don't know whether or not they'd have time to do it, but is that something that we could see? No, they're going to go to the forwards first. I was just wondering whether they could sneak that extra 3 points that would then put them into well and truly the box seat. And there's contest, big run from Bordeaux, moving up to 25 metres out. Custard Mustard Pies says far out Qatar. Now passed far out to the right-hand side. Right on the verge of the touchline, they're told to get out of it. Maxime Luku goes across to the big man, Bentame Funa, who crashes forward 20 metres out. Luku goes across to the left again here. Mofana. Oh, big shots coming in the midfield. Little chip in behind, attempted. He's gone down. It's a foot race, but it's gone dead. And it's either the 22 or the scrum here. Fans feeling like maybe there was someone taken out. Do you think South Africa are going to win? I mentioned earlier on, New Zealand, I believe, are big underdogs in that game. South Africa should beat them. But New Zealand are also one of those sides historically that every once in a while pull off a really good game. And sometimes it's been up against South Africa. So for me, South Africa are about 80% likely to win that one. But New Zealand still have that 20%, and sometimes that's all they need. But yeah, I do think the Blitzboks deserve to go through to the final. And at the moment, honestly, it's probably their competition to lose. Now, kicking this one off with a 22 dropout down towards the halfway line. Nicely claimed from Buros, who has got no number on the back of his jersey at the moment. Trying to get back up, and a little knock on the ground from Bordeaux. A mistake made. Gives Toulouse another scrum. Looks like Jalibert has made his way from the field, so that brings on Joey Carberry for Bordeaux. Been fully in control in that number 10 jersey. Not many errors happening. The coach And that he's happy with the performance. Do South Africa losing a game? They have not yet. 3 wins from 3. So, yeah, it's just one of those scenarios that, yes, like they're undefeated up to this stage, but it's those next 2 games, the semi-final and the final, that they have to make sure that they do win. Now, 10 minutes left in this match. Bordeaux leading by 12. And then, from the get-go, flash in, and now nice attack and run forward from Toulouse, moving to 38 metres out. Roman Intermac. It's a player who has become a little bit non-existent in the last 10 minutes or so. Take and run from Santiago Chocabarez. Man, it could be a bit of a super sub for Toulouse. They will shift this one away to the left-hand side. They have got numbers. That is a big tackle coming in. It looked like there was almost a knock-on the ground, but it has come back out for Toulouse, trying to steal it in the breakdown with Bordeaux. They've been physical in a majority of the breakdowns throughout this match. Short ball right next to the breakdown. Andrew Brace almost got cleaned up there. Now moving just a little bit closer to the try line. Naito Saito does leave it alone so that his forward can make an extra couple meters. A replacement lock. Now off to the side. Capuzio throws it into touch. And it will be the line out now for Bordeaux. Only 9 minutes now remaining. The time is starting to get a little bit more, I guess you could say, valuable for Toulouse, as every time they touch the ball, they pretty much need points from here if they want a chance of being able to win it. And Capuzio, he just tried the skip pass, just never really found his man. It's going to be thrown in by Conessa. Only just out from their own line. Here's Ben Tamefuna, tackled by Intermac. We stream the Lions squad announcements. Is them in the 11th. I'm not too sure if it's being shown here in New Zealand, but we will be doing a video about it, of course, and then if they are doing a live stream that we can see, I'll probably end up doing something along those lines. It's a good kick downfield from Bordeaux, another brilliant exit. Missed the second half, but Jalabert still showing how much better he is than Intermac. Says Bill, he had a very good match here, Jalabert. Was in control. I think the crowd are trying to say that it should be a Bordeaux line-out, but the referees disagree. Now going to be thrown in, well taken by Toulouse, probably Sky Sports News UK and Ireland. So yeah, I'll probably have to get the VPN out, I'd say, if I want to do any sort of special thing around it. Now, back across to the right-hand side here for Toulouse. Naito Saito, another pass to Intermac. You just feel like they're on the verge of something here, Toulouse. But every time that we say that, they end up losing the ball in the breakdown. Not in this case, though. Merkler. It's up to 22 metres out, told to get out of it for Bordeaux, shifting left again. That is the wing that Capuzio last time just didn't quite get right. Now Juan Cruz Malia passes now one more on the outside, bit more of a step coming in from Intermac. And now once again passed off to the side. Very good defence coming in here from Toulouse. Now, 15 metres still between. It seems like they're just there inside of the 22. Every time they get a little bit closer, they end up losing metres or giving away a penalty, which they just have for diving in off the feet from Toulouse. And like they have just said, it is just as good as scoring there for Bordeaux. A massive, massive turnover. And just not the best clean out there. Chopping at the legs. Getting himself in a little bit of trouble. Looks like Ben Tamefuna actually staying down after that one. I think, yeah, he was the one who was in the breakdown. It was actually Merkler, my apologies. It did go in there with the clean out. It's a good rugby game so far. Yeah, it's been a really good game. And Bordeaux have done pretty well controlling it, I guess you could say. Haven't really looked trouble too often throughout this match. You can see the Toulouse fans in the stands are looking just a little bit less happy at the moment with only the 6 minutes remaining on the clock here. They're trying to get something going, but just seems like they're missing that big X factor across their back line, whether or not that is Ramos, Dupont. I think that Julio Marchand, he's definitely shown that if Malvaca was in the lineup, I think Marchand still has done enough to say he deserved to be in that starting side. Now passed across, and that's going to be a not straight line out. In fact, sorry, the forward pass at the front of the line out, which does now mean that it will be another scrum for Toulouse. Every time they almost have this game under control, it just seems to be that Bordeaux end up giving away something silly, like a handling error or maybe a penalty as well, like we've seen in some of the other ones. And started watching in the gym, ended in the den with a vodka lemon, says Fleshin. And I've been getting my washing in. It's dry. Toulouse ain't doing well here, says Roof. And they're struggling. 5 minutes remaining between missing out on a Champions Cup final. The defending champs as well, we should mention, beating Leinster in the final last year. Bordeaux and also Northampton Saints. Looking like that will be the final for this match. Bordeaux really well supported in the stands. I haven't seen too many empty seats. And we'll be heading to Cardiff for the final. But a neutral ground for this next matchup. Nato Sato, big scrum from Toulouse. Unable to get themselves the penalty advantage though. Peter Aki, now Roman into Mac. Goes across to Juan Cruz Malia. Oh, close to another turnover for Bordeaux. They get it as well. And it's just been time and time again. Oh, a little bit of a look up and down there. The halfback replacement, Arthur Retier, is able to win the penalty. And then I think it was Juan Cruz Malia getting in his face. A little bit of tension out there at the moment. And Toulouse must be in shock. You know what it reminds me of? And this is actually, like, seriously, the last match, Northampton-Leinster. It seemed like at times in that game, Leinster, even though they were considered, like, in terms of, like, the amount of tries that Leinster have scored throughout the URC is insane. But something about the backline that they had just wasn't quite able to break down Northampton. And I feel like this game's been a little bit similar. Bordeaux have managed this game well. They've kept it in their hands, and they've won like 5 or 6 crucial turnovers in the breakdowns, which I think has just shut down any momentum that Toulouse have tried to create. Now Maxime Luku going across to the left-hand side. Leinster underestimated Northampton, says David. That's going to be kicked high by Maxime Luku. And, slap back for Bordeaux. Running straight at Juan Cruz Malia, and he sits him down there, Arthur Retier. And that is quite the statement, definitely, because those two were having a bit of a chat after the last penalty one. Now still there. Maxime Luku goes back across to the right-hand side. Mofana sits down the man in front of him. And this looks like now Bordeaux. Surely they can get themselves another quick hands out wide to Biel Bearay. Luku, 3 minutes left. I'd love to put the icing on the cake with another big try here. Big run forward from the start in 5. Luku, short side now, eyeing it up. Only inches out from the try line. Luku has to dig around, and the breakdown for that one. Back across to the right-hand side. Ankles taken out from underneath the Bordeaux forwards. Toulouse defence on the goal line, not doing too bad. That was close for Connor Sarr to fall over the line. Only 1 metre out here. Back across to the right. That looks very, very close, and it's a try for Bordeaux. And that has secured the win. Can't see this game, but it felt it. Ouch. Says Blues native. Toulouse decided it wasn't worth being in the final without Leinster. They'll battle it out for third, says Cameron. But the try at the end of this contest, it is Ben Tamefuna who does manage to get over the try line and scores in almost the final moments of this game. By the time the kick is taken, there will only be 1 minute remaining on the clock. And with that, we'll bring the victory for Bordeaux. Unconverted try, please, for my score prediction of 35 points to 18, says Roger. Just pick and goes from Toulouse, and then when Ben Tamefuna gets that body position right, he's just not going to be easy to move. But 35 points to 18. Unconverted try, please, for my score prediction. It could be on the cards because it's not the easiest kick, and he has missed away to the side. 35 points to 18, looking like could be the end score here. And what a finish for Bordeaux. Excellent, well done. Hello, hell of a beating. quite a statement made by Bordeaux, although the thing is, they will come in as favourites up against the Northampton Saints. Can the Saints cause that upset again? But now, 45 seconds remaining. Like they have just said, to have both finalists from last year knocked out at this stage of the comp, it's almost like a passing of the torch for this year for two other sides to have that opportunity to go on and win it. But Matthew Jalabert, he is the man who receives the man of the match. Should have $1,000 on this game, Dan, says Roger. Although, you did get it right, don't get me wrong. But then, of course, if you had, probably wouldn't have been the score. That seems to be how it works anyway. But now, looks like they are just going to keep this ball here, Bordeaux. 10 seconds remaining. They'll just go with one or two more phases. And then they'll be able to put this ball into touch, back into the pocket. And now Carberry with the little fist bump kicks it out. And that will be the end of the Champions Cup semi-finals. Bordeaux versus Northampton in the final. For the Challenge Cup, it will be Lyon taking on Bath. So all of the games have now been confirmed. They are taking place on the 24th and 25th of May, I believe it is. So be sure, keep an eye out for that. But next week, back into the top 14 for Bordeaux and Toulouse. In terms of the other sides who were in the Champions Cup semi-finals, we will get to see the Premiership kicking back off, and same with the URC. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. Our next live stream will be taking place in 1 hour 45 or 1 hour 15, and that is between South Africa and Argentina in the women's game. Then from there, we've got a few other playoff matches, Fiji included, up against Great Britain, the semi-finals of the men's and the women's. And then later on in the day, of course, some more action taking place as well. But thank you all very much for being here. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all for the next one.